Okay, thank you everyone for coming. This is going to be How to Land Your First Internship at a Tech Company by Mike Doroshenko. And I just wanted to, before we introduce, I just want to give a quick thanks to the Google Developer Student Group and Dimitri for, kind of finding the speaker and, holding this, I guess, like merging this event, like kind of a collaboration, a small collaboration. So today, I want to introduce Mike just real quick here. So Mike is, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so Mike is a software engineer at SAP. I guess SAP is how it's referred to, I think, right? But he's also the founder of the AI startup Visioner at Visioner. And also Google Developer Student Club community lead. And today he's going to be talking about how to land his your first internship at a tech company. And currently he's on his final round for Facebook internship. So that's pretty exciting. So with that, first of all, I want to thank you for coming out. I know it's kind of late over there where you are. So thank you for staying up, I guess.
Thank you for
I'll hand it to you.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for introduction. Just a few words about myself. I've got the SAP software engineer internship as a freshman. So that's pretty rare. And I'm having the final rounds of Facebook internship interviews actually tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about it. So today I want to talk about the application process, basically from start to finish. And the format will be something like, first I'm going to say basically what to expect from each stage. Then I'm going to say how to prepare for the stage and my personal advice. So later we can have some Q&As. One thing I want you to know is I like questions, so please, during my speech, prepare them, and later we will have like lots of time, so you could ask me them. Okay, so first thing you want to do is to apply, right? That may sound strange, but I actually know lots of people who never apply to the companies or apply only once and then, just waiting for response. What I'd like to advise is to constantly applying for these companies, because they just hire you on a rolling basis, which means, the more you're going to apply, the better. One basically pro tip is to apply with the referral. So in case you don't know, the referral is a person in the company you want to work who is already working there and just can recommend you to that company. So basically what he's saying is, hey, I know that good guy would make a great fit for the company. Please give him a shot. And that way your resume is basically filtered in a screening process better, and you're just getting the higher chances of getting the interview. So the applications usually open the mid-fall. So that's pretty interesting situation is when the summer is going to its end, these companies are already start recruiting for the next summer. So that's pretty interesting. So the hiring season is actually right now. So I would recommend to any of you who wants to try yourself for an internship is, after this speech, to basically Google the company, type internship after it, and you'll see the career profile. Just apply there. I promise it's never too late. You just have to, go on the hiring mode there and see what happens. So once you applied, basically one thing you're going to assess upon is your resume, right? So you're not going to ask any questions for that. You just have to have your resume. And a few things to put in it would be, first is your university. So, or college, it doesn't really matter. You have to be a student to apply for an internship. And also, it would be the best if you have the experience in your previous internships. But if you haven't, just put some projects. So let me just say a few things about projects here. Basically, try to make them techy. So what I mean is, it could be anything. It could be the website where you're hooking the front end and the back end. It could be a mobile app, as long as it's technically interesting. And actually want to go a little off topic here because I think it's important to know that that's not how you build the projects in real life. I mean, the one thing I understood building the real life projects is that you want to go from the problem, right? So when you're building something, you want to solve the problem. And when you're going for the internship, it's nice to have some technologies there. So you might think first about technologies, like, front end, back end, machine learning, anything you want, and put it there. But when you're building the real life project, try to think about solving the problem and then using the tools that will help you to build this product. So, I want to solve some problem. And then you think, okay, what do I need? Well, I could use this for front end, this for back end, and for this specific task, I could use this machine learning library, So that's basically how it works. Okay, so once you're done with your resume and you pass the screening, here comes the actual interview. So one question I get asked a lot is why you actually bother applying for internships, right? What is what is the internship? Why applying there? So let me quickly explain. The internships is, so how I see it, is the easier way to get to the big tech companies, like FANG companies. So when you're applying full-time, the thing is you have to pass around five interviews, and then they include algorithms and data structures questions, system design questions, and behavioral part. So that's pretty long and lots of stuff you need to learn to pass that. And it's also really competing. So instead, what you could do is to apply for an internship while you're a student. And it will usually be like 2 to 3 interviews, which are all focused on algorithms and data structures. And I'll talk later about how to prepare for them and exact topics that you're going to be asked. And yeah, that's about it. So it's 2 to 3 questions. 2 to 3 round interviews and 1 to 2 questions. And they're usually not that hard. Comparing to the full-time positions, they're definitely easier because they're tailored specifically for interns. So, and if you do well on the internship, you could convert to the full-time employee, right? So I actually know a friend who's during his junior year of high school, junior year of college, he's gotten the internship at Google, and then he do not pass any other interviews. He would get the return offer for the next summer and then return offer for the next summer. And so he ended up basically having the three summers in a row of internship at Google without need to pass any other interviews, right? So he basically got the return offers. And then after university, he got the full-time offer. So again, without additional interviews. So that's pretty cool. So for the interview itself, the thing that you're going to be asked is pretty much algorithms and data structures questions. So the basic algorithms like depth first search, breadth first search, binary search, these types of algorithms. And for the data structures, it would be something like arrays, hash maps, stacks, queues, heaps, trees, linked lists. So you could basically Google algorithms and data structures and you'll find all of them. So what resources I would recommend to prepare is, there's lots of resources. I find the site LeetCode the most helpful because you just have lots of questions there. You could sort them by company-wise if you have premium. You could also sort them by difficulty. So you have basically the separation between like easy, medium, and hard questions. And these companies usually asks you like easy to medium questions. So not even hard, that's pretty cool. For the actual interview, I would like to give you advice of like how to approach the problem. So when you got asked the problem, one thing you make sure you do immediately is not to code, right? So that may sound weird, but trust me, you'll get the coding later. First thing you want to do is to ask clarifying questions and think about the brute force solution. So brute force solution is basically the worst solution. That's usually the first thing that comes to mind. And then you could improve on that later, right? So you're saying the brute force solution, you're saying the time and space complexity of that. Yeah, so that's another thing you need to know, the time and space complexity of your algorithms. Yeah, so after you've discussed that, you could optimize and just make sure you're speaking while you're doing all that, because interviewer wants to know your thought process, and that doesn't really matter if you can solve the problem. Most of them are not that hard, and if you do enough of your lead code, it's usually good to solve, around 100 questions, and you're basically good to go. But just I want you to make sure that you're speaking while you're doing that, because the analysis of your problem is that what actually recruiter is looking for. They're looking for how you came up to the brute force solution. It's time and space complexity, how you're optimizing that, and then actually when you're optimizing that, you say that's the time and space complexity, and you're explaining why it's better. If you have some recursions going on in your code, it's good to say that it's not really scalable. It may cause the stack overflow. So just let your recruiter know that you could analyze the problem and not just solve it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. When you're done with your problems, again, it's usually like 2 to 3 questions. You're going to, the interview process would overall take something like 2 to 3 weeks. So the whole process. And then if you're doing great, you'll get an offer. So nowadays it's working last summer the interns for the most of the companies worked remotely, so from home. That's pretty sad, because lots of interns want to intern for these companies because they want to go through this office and maybe eat some free food or something. You got free flights. Now it's pandemic, it's just all from home. But it's still, if you're doing great in the internship, you could get the return offer. So that's, I think, the best part. Yeah, so that's pretty much sums up my talk. Again, like if you have any questions, I would more than like to answer that. So feel free.
I have
I have a question. So when it comes to the resume, you mentioned kind of discussing like some of the projects that you have done on your resume.
Yeah.
What do you think would be like, I guess, the most useful thing to put in about your project? Because I think the idea is that like usually the resume is about 1 page long. And let's say you've done like 3 projects, plus you have like another job you want to add to your resume. You know, it's kind of like figuring out what is the best thing you can say about the projects you've done is kind of something that I struggle with.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thanks for that. So on my experience, I feel like the best thing to put about your projects is really the technical stuff. So what technology have you used? Maybe, it's good to put a few sentences about what your project is doing. Maybe to put a few things if it's real. I mean, if it's have some users, if it's have some retention, but basically the main part is gonna be the technical stuff. So that's basically, yeah, the technologies you've used, what language you've used, the frameworks, technologies, maybe how you were able to hook different APIs together. That would be cool. So, but yeah, that's what I talk about when I was talking about these projects. So you're trying to go from technology. So maybe put a few different languages, you know, stuff like that. But on real world, what you're trying to do is like, okay, you're trying to solve some problem. You see what problems are there, and then you pick up your language as a tool. So that's basically the exact reverse of what you do in the internship in the project section of the resume. So was it helpful?
Yes, thank you.
So we have a couple of questions in the chat. First one being, yeah, I could read them. So the first one is, how long should you spend on LeetCode problems daily?
Okay, that's a great question. Honestly, I found myself that I spend around like 3 to 4 hours daily of preparing. Overall, I solved the like 200, more than 200 questions, somewhere like that. But I would really recommend not to go for the the quantity of those questions. I think the best thing that you can do is to extract as much information from the problem as you possibly can. So that's basically means not just solving the question, but after you solve, analyze it. And most of the times I'm not even able to solve the question. So I go to discuss section and basically read through the solution. And then I try to understand the solution. So that's really important. And not, so my advice is don't try to, hack yourself, because don't try to fool yourself that you understood the problem when you just read the solution. So always return to that question you're not sure you know how to solve, and just try to solve it on your own the next time. So yeah, that's my advice.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple questions that are similar. The next one, I guess we'll just go in order, is how do you get, actually I'll clump these. So how do you get a referral in a company, and how often do you think you should apply to like internships? I guess those are 2 questions.
Okay, so let's tackle them one by one. So the first question was, what was it again?
How do you get a referral inside a company?
Right, so how do you get a referral? So the way it worked for me is I had a friend who worked at Google, and I just wrote him, hey man, can you refer me? And he agreed. But I understand that I was just lucky, and you may not have friends in these FANG companies. So my advice is to find your university or college network of people who are also applying to the internships, and basically reach out to these people and get to know, maybe they have friends that work at these companies. Or if it's if you're a truly antisocial person, you could just one way to do that is to go to LinkedIn, and they have, basically you can filter people by companies they work in. Some of them has open messages, some of them have their email put on, so you could just hit them with a cold mail and ask for referral. Yeah, so that's not necessary that it is your friend to work there. So you could just ask random people from LinkedIn. But I would recommend, like, the best way is, if you don't have any friends that work at these companies, the best way so far would be uh, to expand your network from your students who are also preparing for these internships. So yeah, that's the way.
Mhm.
Okay, and
the second question was, how often should or do you recommend for applying to internships, like the interval, or yeah, just how often?
They actually have the fixed interval. Like, if you get rejected, you could apply like after half a year. So like that's the recommended time period. But I would say just apply, like, if you don't get the internship, just apply as many times as you can. I'll repeat, the interviews, the applications usually open mid-fall. So it is hiring season right now. So I know at Facebook, there is lots of hiring that's going on right now. So just, the direct answer is every year until you get an offer. So in the round of mid-fall section.
How about like across companies, not just one, but like, if you're applying to multiple?
Yeah, it's a great way to to maximize your chances. I remember I applied to something like oh god, maybe 20 companies at the same time. And so, because not every of them I have a referral, so not that much really responded back to me. But few did, and few gave you the internship. And if you are really prepared, and one way to make you prepared is if you read code daily. So yeah, you're basically getting the offer.
Cool. I guess we have two more questions. Again, I'll do the same clump. The first one is, what do you think about programming languages? Like, which programming languages are good, or what do they even care? Like programming languages. And then the second one, I'll just say second one and I'll say it again, which is, does the experience of non-tech related work matter for the resume, or should you just leave it out? So first question is, what do you think about languages?
So basically, if you're applying to FANG companies, they don't care about which languages you're going to solve the problem at all. So you could choose any language you want. Definitely choose the one that you're most comfortable with. I would say if you're starting to learn the new programming languages, the best one to interview, the best one for me would be the Python, because you just could type things faster at these programming languages. The same code at Python and C++, you just it just saves your time in the interview. And I think that's really important. And I think it's really close to English language, so you could understand it better. So yeah, that's my advice. And according to the job in non-related fields, right? So I think like if you don't have anything better to put in your resume, definitely put it. Even if it's non-related, the recruiter will know that you're doing something, and maybe try to yeah, I think the best way to fill the gap in the interview, if you don't have any experience, is definitely the pet projects. So basically, if you have blank space, put your university or college, put your skills, and basically the rest of it will be the projects. So the more it's technically exciting and challenging, the better. So yeah, that's my advice on that.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. We have another question, which is if you apply for like a specific position, like say, for example, front-end developer, do they ask like the same type of questions as a general software developer position, or more specific questions about the technology? And I guess this, I don't know, I guess if this is talking about a job or internship, but I guess the more general version would be like, do the questions, I'm guessing they differ based on like what the position name is, or are they like mostly the same? Or maybe you can speak a little bit about like the specific type of work that you'll be doing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about the internships on the front end positions or any other positions other than software engineering. So as I said, if you're applying for the internship in a software engineering field, that basically the algorithms and data structure question. However, if you're applying to the job, like a full-time job, if you're applying for a front end, like again, for every company, the process won't be the same. So if you're applying for one company, that may be the same algorithms and data structures question from lead code, like no matter which position, front end or back end. From other companies, it will be some questions related to front end, but on my experience, it won't be like to code something. It would be theoretical questions about the front end and back end. So for example, for front end, I used to ask algorithms and data structure questions. So that's basically the base. And then on top of that, I would ask, I got asked the question about the selectors, something about the JavaScript, the versioning of that. So ECMAScript 5, ECMAScript 6, what's the difference, and something like that. Something about APIs. So yeah, definitely it varies around the companies, but I would say if you're applying specifically for front end, definitely expect that some theoretical questions tailored on that position that you're applying in.
Cool. So actually, we want to just give a quick 2 plugs, I guess. I guess we'll start off with Developers Guild, which is at Pienza, a club, and we have a group actually. It's called the Interview Prep Group. And I don't know, Jesse, do you want to give a little bit of a introduction to that group and see if people are interested?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, over at Developers Guild Club, I just pasted the link to the server in the chat. We have an interview prep group, and we do some of the exact stuff that Mike talked about today. So we learn about like data structures and algorithms, and we even set up like mock interviews with each other within the group. So it'll make you feel a lot more prepared for like the actual interview. You'll feel more confident about it. And a lot of the problems we do are also like leak code problems as well. So that's a good way to get like motivated to practice those. So So yeah, check us out at the server.
And I don't know if Cassie wanted to give a little bit of a plug for Wix.
I do. Yeah. So Mike mentioned that if you don't know anyone who is currently working at, a big company or is working at the company that you want to work at, that a good way to network is reach out to your community. And so I just want to let everyone know that at Wix, we have several speaker events scheduled for the year. We've already scheduled them like during the summer. So we have actually a speaker event coming up on Wednesday this week, I guess. And we have 2 speakers who work at Google, one who works at Lockheed Martin, and then another one, she actually just changed jobs. So I don't remember the company that she works for, but she used to work at Berkeley Labs. Yeah, please join the Wix Club. I would post the link in the chat, but I am sharing my screen right now, so sorry. But yeah,
You can stop sharing the screen.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So so we do that, and then we also have a couple of interview things planned. They're not exactly fleshed out yet, but we do intend on doing some of those, as well as volunteer opportunities. So I could talk about it all day, but I won't. I have actually one more question for Mike. Actually a little bit specific, but it may apply to some other people who are in the meeting right now. So specifically for Facebook, I actually was recently trying to apply there for an internship, and I noticed that they require a high school transcript. And I have been out of high school for like 10 years, and my high school also doesn't have electronic transcripts. I guess they're like all official. So I'm not sure if anyone else is maybe having an issue with their high school transcripts. But in regards to your referral thing, do you have any advice on maybe how to kind of circumvent that obstacle, or kind of just pick another company?
Yeah, so I'd say that first of all, I didn't have that problem in the Facebook, because I remember Google was asking you for the transcripts, and the thing that they were asking is either official or unofficial. So you could just make the Excel spreadsheet with your marks and submit it there like that. So it can be unofficial. But for Facebook, I wasn't asked that. So my advice is, if you don't have any transcripts, like you could make, you still have marks, right? Okay, so if you have marks, you could, again, make it unofficial. So they allow that. So you could make the Excel spreadsheets with all your marks and submit it like that. And so if you're studying in a college or university, they actually can provide you with the official transcript. So you could just, reach out to your maybe student community and ask for one. Yeah, so that's what I would say.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess it doesn't seem like we have more questions. That was a lot of good questions, I think, though. Yeah, so I guess I want to say a thank you again to Mike and everyone here who came today on their Sunday. Mike is maybe not Sunday anymore, huh? Well, anyways, for coming here today. Regardless, thank you guys. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it. And that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Max, for inviting me. It was a pleasure to talk to you guys. And yeah, see you.